felt, I don't know what we would have done if we didn't have that emergency fund, but it left us feeling not so exposed and not so vulnerable. And hey friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today I just want to talk about saving an emergency fund, which is something I think it's quite important or crucial if you're on a journey to financial freedom or trying to get more financially savvy. I'll give you a bit of a backstory. A few years ago, I stumbled across Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey is a financial guru who has this beautiful book on having a total money makeover. I believe it was around 2016 that I started reading and following him, and it kind of, I found he made the whole financial lingo quite easy, and his 7 steps to total money makeover, I found that it's something that me and my family could easily follow. So Dave Ramsey talks a lot about saving an emergency fund. He first advises that you save a starter emergency fund while you're paying debt, and then later, after paying debt, that you need to save your 3 to 6 months emergency fund. And sometime towards end of 2018 or beginning of end of 2018, I started chatting to my husband about, we do have savings, but we dip into them whenever we wish, even if it's not an emergency. I think we need to really start being serious about this emergency fund thing, your vault of emergency where you open only in emergencies. And we put a figure down. That figure to me seemed quite daunting, because it's like we're already living from paycheck to paycheck. Where are we going to get this money? How are we going to save this amount so quickly? So it was around April 2019 that we really decided to start getting disciplined about it, and by September we had reached our goal of saving our starter emergency fund. So the reason I felt I need to make this video is because after this whole COVID thing happened, and if you've watched my video on loss of income, we got affected as well, and we lost some income. I really don't know what would have done if we didn't have an emergency fund. So I feel like everybody has to have that nice feeling of knowing that when an emergency does happen, you still feel a bit secure. You don't feel so exposed. You don't feel so vulnerable to where am I going to get my next meal? What am I going to do next? So I found that emergency fund came in handy. And when we drastically lost so much income because of the COVID-19, the lockdown or the shutdowns, I really we felt, I don't know what we would have done if we didn't have that emergency fund, but it left us feeling not so exposed and not so vulnerable, and we felt okay in a way. Not okay to have lost income, but we were okay. We were okay in a way to say, okay, we'll figure out a way of lasting a few months because we had this emergency fund. And it's something that I wish I learned about a long time ago, because this whole COVID-19 thing would have found us even in a better position with a bigger emergency fund. So that's why I sit here and I feel like I can give advice, because we did it. We managed to do it. It wasn't easy, but these are the 5 steps that I would advise anyone if anyone asked me, how did you do it? So how do you save an emergency fund quickly? The first step, I know you've probably heard this before, but it's because it's true. Budget, budget, budget. There's no way of getting around it. Budgeting will help you. In fact, get on a written budget. I'm a pen and paper girl. I know some people are more digital and they like to do that on their Excel spreadsheet, but I'm a pen and paper girl. I take a pen and paper every single month, and you put your budget down. And it's important to budget every single month, because no 2 months are the same. Things, certain things stay the same. It's true, your rent, but certain things may show up month to month. That's why you can't just write a budget once and use it for the whole year. So you have to get on a written budget to see what's unique about the next because the next month might be more unique, or might have things that are added to your budget, or some things might be removed. So the reason getting on a written budget will help you is because after you put down, and I must say, if you're looking to save an emergency fund, when you write your budget, you have to write the absolute necessities, not your wants, but basically needs, so that you can see what your disposable income is. So the main thing about, why it's already important to budget, but why it's important to budget when you're going to embark on saving an emergency fund is because it will easily show you what disposable income you have from month to month. And you'll quickly see where you're wasting money and where you need to cut back. So unless you write a budget, you won't be able to pick those few things up on, where you're wasting money or where you can cut down. Now, which brings me to my second point on, now that you know how much your disposable income is, you now need to save it. Second thing is, once you know what your disposable income is, you need to make sure that you are saving it, you're putting it away in savings. And the savings, or the saving account, which you need to put your emergency fund in, it's a savings account that you can access anytime, because an emergency can happen at any time, and you don't want to put your emergency fund an account that's going to require you to put a 30-day notice, because what if you don't have 30 days to wait? What if an emergency happens and you have to deal with it immediately? So it has to be a bank account that you can access at any given point. I personally, we use Time Bank, and I like Time Bank because it has a little goal save in which you can put your savings into, and you can access that at any given time. The whole aim of saving an emergency fund is not to get interest on it, but it would be wonderful if wherever you're putting it, it's still accumulating a bit of interest. So I liked the Time Bank goal save because even though I can access my money at any given point, it does accumulate, I believe, a minimum of 4% at any given month. The longer you leave your money in there, the greater the interest it can accumulate. It used to go up to 9%, but starting from July, it can go up to, I believe the interest rate reduced a bit. It can go up to 6%. So third advice on how to get that emergency fund saved quickly is sell unwanted items. I'll give you an example. With me, when we started, and I started, looking around on what can I sell, I had a silly basin mattress that was brand new, but we were not using it. It was a queen silly basin mattress, and it was still wrapped. I had it stored on our way. I thought we would use it, but we were so in love with our old bed that we ended up really not using it. And because I was thinking, like most of us think, when I finally have my dream home, I have more bedrooms, I'll have, an extra bedroom, and I can use it in one of the, but it's really just there gathering dust. So I decided to just post it on Facebook, Facebook Market, and within no time it was snatched. And I remember I was so excited with having to take that little chunk and adding it to the emergency fund. So look around your house, think about things that are valuable but you're honestly really not using, or even if it's not extremely valuable, but things that that people might want to buy. So look around, think outside the box, don't get attached to items you're not using. So selling unwanted items is one of the fastest ways in which you can accumulate cash and build that emergency fund quickly. The fourth thing, which also I think might be cliche that everybody talks about, but it's only because it's true, is figure out a way to get a side hustle. I did not necessarily get this side hustle when I was building my starter emergency fund, but now that we're concentrating on a 3 to 6 months emergency fund, I decided to find a side hustle. So when this whole COVID-19 thing started and we heard that we're gonna start wearing masks, I know the market is full now and everybody's selling masks, but I jumped on the wagon very early on and I started selling the reusable nano masks, and they flew. and I must say I'm so glad that I did. I was a bit skeptical because I was like, I don't want to spend my money during this time when I don't know if it will get a return or not. But I went and purchased those masks, and I told myself, I was like, if everybody is in South Africa is required to have a mask, surely I can get a few clients out of this. And so I took a leap of faith and I went and bought those masks, and because they were unique, they were reusable, and they had that nice filter, I found that people were drawn to them more than they were to the cloth masks, and they sold like hotcakes. And that helped me, start building up that bulking up our emergency fund further, because we are at that step now where we want to save the 3 to 6 months emergency fund. If you've been following along, you'll know that my family and I are on Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover. But there are certain things that happened during this pandemic that have required us to jump a step of paying debt. If you don't know what the Dave Ramsey, what I'm rambling on about of Dave Ramsey's 7 steps and all, I'll go back to my first ever videos that I did here. I shared all the 7 baby steps and why it's important to follow them that way. But where we are now, because of the whole pandemic thing, my husband and I decided to skip the baby step number 2, which is completely getting out of debt, and we feel we had to do this because of the situation that we find ourselves in. So we skipped baby step number 2. We had already paid most of our debt, but we're not finished. So because of this situation that the world finds itself in, because of the loss of income and because of the uncertainty, we feel will be a bit more safer if we skip to number 3, baby step number 3, which is to save the 3 to 6 months emergency fund. So we are bulking up that emergency fund we saved last year in September to bulk it up and make it a 3 to 6 months emergency fund. So I saw that side hustle that I started off selling those masks really tremendously helped me. I doubled my investment and was able to take that chunk, and we are not done with the 3 to 6 months emergency fund, but it's helping me. The side hustle is really helping me bulk it up quicker than I would if I didn't get the side hustle. Last advice that I will give you is to stay disciplined. I'm a self-confessed impulsive buyer. I'm impulsive about everything. I'm impulsive about my decisions, and I find that I sometimes lack discipline, but I quickly learned that if I am going to do this, if I really want to set my family into financial independence and later in life be at a place where we sit and we say, we think we've got this financial thing under control, because that's our dream, to wake up one day and not live from paycheck to paycheck, or not have to worry about our kids' future, not have to worry about our retirement, and just have things under control. I'm really looking forward to that, and I realized that unless I start learning to be disciplined, it's not gonna happen. So one of the most important thing with any form of saving for any form of goal is to stay disciplined. Focus on your why. Always remember why you want to do this. I find that whenever that discipline starts to waver a bit, I try to remember my why. I try to keep my eyes on the goal and try to remember why I want to do this. Like I've already given you a few whys there, because we want to wake up one day and not have to worry about finances so much. I know it's impossible not to worry about finances at all, but get to a point where we feel like we are winning in this adulting thing when it gets to finances. So we're still in a learning process, but I found that at any given stage of this process, discipline is quite important. So be prepared. If you want to save the emergency fund fast, be prepared to stay disciplined. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I am so excited that I realized that the other day I woke up to 390 subscribers, and last I checked it was around 160. I am honestly in awe. I want to thank every single one of you who decided that my content is worth viewing and it's something that is being helpful to you, that you saw it fit to subscribe to my channel, I want to say thank you so much. And I really love hearing from you and engaging with you and getting advice, because I know that even though I sit here and try to give advice on this, I am still in the learning process, and I know that there are people who might be watching who have figured it out even more than I have. So that's why I would love for you to just hang out in the comment section a bit and give a bit of advice on what you're doing, what steps are you taking in trying to win in this financial independence thing, or trying to saving more money. What are you doing that maybe I am not aware of, so that I myself can learn from you as much as I'm sure some of you are learning from me. Thanks again for watching. Hit the notification bell so that you can know when I upload my next video. And if you're here hanging around and consuming some of this content, I'd love for you to also subscribe if you haven't already. And thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.